I'm Alex.
And I'm Teddy.
And I'm Spencer.
And we are
The Button Mappers.
Hey, the Button Mappers.
Welcome back to the Button Mappers. We're one button short today, but we still got me and Teddy.
That's right. Some of us are running, the others are gunning. And we're going to run and gun for everyone today.
That's right, because we're playing Contra. We're doing our map out series. It's a bonus map out. It's not map out whatever it was that month we did all map outs. All map August, was that it?
That's true.
Yeah. It is not August. You have not fallen into a time portal, but we are giving you an extra map out this month, so free of charge.
Yes, contrary to what you may have thought. We're back with a map.
Yeah, it may seem like a controversial decision, but we decided to do an extra map out, and it's Contra. It's a Konami classic from the NES, and it's been oft repeated, oft replicated, and probably done better. But it's still very good.
It's the OG. It's Konami. You know, I like that pronunciation. It kind of gives it like Vietnam vibes. Oh, back in Nam. Back in Konam. Back in the Konami days. We used to play with two NES controllers, put it in the Konami code.
Yeah. Oh, and we definitely use the Konami code on this. I'm sure both of us.
Yeah, definitely did.
Oh,
it's necessary.
It's required. Before we talk about Contra, I guess you can find us on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching us right now. Make sure that if you are, you're hitting like, you're subscribing if you're not already. You're ringing the notification bell so you get all of our videos sent to you. And you leave a comment that says what you think about Contra. Where else can they find us?
Send us a telegram through Discord. Telegram? Is that even a thing?
I think it's an app.
It's like it's a sketchy app too.
Is it?
Don't send us a telegram. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. We don't want it.
No telegrams. Okay. Send us a fax through Discord. We have a Discord, the Button Mappers. Links in the description below, where you can talk all things buttons and maps, all things video games. We got a community thread section where we invite you to make video responses every so often, and we also have calls to action, and then we just have general button banter. So good times in the Discord, where you can also talk to the third button, who will not be third buttoning today, Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hey, Alex. Do you think he's gonna watch this?
There is Spotify and an Apple Podcast.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, before we get into anything else, what's your history with Contra?
Zero. I know. So Contra's like 87. I think it's like the classic arcade game. It's but just before my time. So I went a lot of my life not knowing about Contra. I only recently got into NES gaming even, and I probably wouldn't have played it if we didn't have a need to play something for the month of run and gun games. So I've also kind of avoided it. I think I've dabbled in the first game and just done really bad. And I kind of didn't understand what I was looking at. Sometimes the view changes and it's you're okay, you're scrolling and then you're just firing at like holes in the wall. So I just didn't get it. I feel like I missed out on some of the Contra craze, because I know this is a very popular game. So I learned to appreciate a bit more about it for today.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, it's before both of our times. It's 87. I was born in 88. So I wasn't even born. Neither of us were born when this game came out. Definitely arcade inspired. Which is not one of my big things. I don't really like arcade games. And it's hard as balls. I just the idea that people would play. I guess I could see where you would learn how to play it, but I would never probably dedicate a lot of time to this one. Some of the inspirations later on in the game are interesting, but it also makes sense because of where it was and the movies that were kind of coming out at the time. So real cool to see it. I'm glad I played through it. and that's probably the extent of its effect on me.
About the same.
Yeah. Before we go any further, we were talking about this a little bit, but I'm curious since we do have a third member, Alex, who's sick at the moment, but he couldn't join us. Do you think he would like this game, or do you think he likes this game? I don't even know. We never really talk about it.
So in our 5 years of recording together, I don't think I could point out once where he's brought up Contra. So I actually suggested this as kind of the replacement video, assuming he probably wouldn't give a shit about Contra. But I do think that if he hasn't played it, he would appreciate it. I think he likes NES games of this caliber. Kind of has similarities, like it feels Mega Man-y. Maybe it's just genre-y, but I think he would like it. But I don't know if he's played it through up until this point. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he would like it. And I think he's a Konami fan, especially obviously not a modern Konami fan or respects what Konami's become, but he seems to like a lot of Konami's stuff, when they were making games actively. So I think he probably likes this game. And it does seem like right up his alley of the kinds of games he likes. So, but yeah, you're right. I've never really heard
played
him.
it.
I think he's played it. I think he's beaten it. I think he's probably played some of the sequels too. But again, you're right. He's never really spoken about it, which is interesting.
Maybe the Rebirth game. Maybe he's played that one. Back on the Wii. He's a Wii boy.
He's a wee lad.
Yes, a wee lad.
All right. Well, before we go any further and talk about the map itself, we like to start with some Contra trivia. Teddy, what have you got for us?
All right, so Contra is a classic. It came out in 1987. There are officially 12 unique Contra titles in the series, and I want to talk about the most recent iteration. We had a Contra game released this year in 2024. It's called Contra Operation Galuga. I haven't played it, but I just thought it's worth noting. It's how many years after the fact? Almost 40, 37 years later, and Contra is still going strong.
Yeah.
The game is developed by Way Forward, who does a lot of these indie style games, I think like Shantae games and games of that ilk. And it's published by Konami. And I heard about the game first, actually, because YouTuber that I watch who does video game covers on a banjo, his name is Banjo Guy Ollie, did a song for the game. And I just thought that was super cool. It's one of those like kind of community driven type of games. It's almost like a tribute and a love letter in a sense. It doesn't really sound that different from like what makes Contra 2D Contra. So I think that's really good for the people who love Contra. Because I mean, if I go through the facts and I'm reading on the Nintendo store page what some of them are, it's very similar to what you expect. Run, jump, and shoot your way through 8 levels using a devastating arsenal, including the spread shot, laser, and homing missiles, now with stackable upgrades and awesome overload abilities. Overload ability sounds like more of a modern take, but everything else, sounds about the same from what you'd know and expect and come to love from a running gun, 11 gun, if you will. And just a couple other interesting facts are that you can have multiple playable characters. It's not the first game in the series to do that. I dabbled a little bit in the Genesis one, and that is similar. It has epic boss battles. Okay, awesome. New and fan favorite weapons and multiple difficulty options. Is a little expensive at about $40, but I do see it go on sale every so often. So, yeah, I guess I can just appreciate a throwback to a classic and one that offers new and unique things, and also a killer soundtrack, from what I understand. That is Contra Operation Galuga.
I'm assuming it has co-op, like online co-op?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Well, online, not sure. I can't speak to that. I could take a look real
Definitely
quick.
couch co-op, though.
Definitely couch co-op. Okay, so I see it here. Explosive co-op combat for up to 2 players in story mode or 4 players in arcade mode. But it doesn't say anything about online. So I'll look that up real quick.
But yeah, just looking at the cover here, it's got some babes in it. I like that. And I like that it's 4 players. That's cool. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Sadly,
they scale it.
I'm looking in the Steam community and it says no native online multiplayer, but if you and your friend want to play online, you can stream it via remote play together on one copy.
That sounds like lag heaven. I don't know if I would want to do that. But that's, whatever. It's couch co-op. Like, that's kind of where it grew up, so it makes sense. I wonder if they scale like single player, two player, and then four. Obviously, they said so. 4 players arcade mode and 2 players story mode. What's the difference?
Between the story and the arcade mode?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
one
I'll
has
have to
cutscenes
get
or
some more of
something?
the features. Probably. Maybe arcade, yeah, just go for a high score. But yeah, I can't tell you.
And I would
You can tell us,
guess
yeah.
I would guess that the players are statistically the same, but
Mhm.
like the modern gamer would think that there would be slight differences. Like one has, but I guess the Contra, you can't really be a tank because you always just take a hit and die. I don't know if there's
true.
health or what, but no, it looks cool. I'd be curious, but I would not pay $40 for it. Yikes. Who do you think?
Okay, I
they
have
are?
it here. The story mode is the full story of the game with 1 or 2 players. Blaster 8 stages. Interesting. While meeting new characters and uncovering the shocking truth behind the Galuga invasion, the Galuga whales.
Galuga.
Arcade mode is jump straight into the action without cutscenes or dialogue. You can use any unlocked characters in this classic style mode for up to 4 players. Bosses may also have additional attacks. And they also have a challenge mode, 30 missions. So, a lot of content for you Contra fans out there.
There you go.
Contra fans, this isn't contraband. It is Contra with a band of content. Contrant. Yeah, no. I tried.
It's quite a contrast from the old Contra.
Balls being contrarily similar.
Yes, people, we're going to keep making as many puns as we can.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, mine is pretty obvious. A lot of people, when they look at Contra, especially the cover, I think they're always from like a certain, like the big fans of Contra, the original, are typically from a certain age and time period. And I think when you look at the cover, it's very clear what some of the influences are. But just to reiterate, Bill, the blue guy, is modeled after Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator. And Lance, the red guy, is modeled after Sylvester Stallone in Rambo First Blood Part 2, 1985.
Ah, the classic rivalry.
Yeah. You can see that they were kind of modeled, especially the Arnold one. I'm not as familiar with the Sylvester Stallone Rambo stuff, but definitely the Predator one is almost copyright infringement. I might go so far as to say that, but who cares, I guess. But were you a fan of the 80s action movies?
Sadly, I just didn't really get into them, but I've become more of a fan of that style of movies. I mean, I liked like Terminator. That was my Arnold. And then Sylvester Stallone was like Rocky.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really look at Sylvester Stallone as like an action guy. I looked at him more of the Rocky, like more of an actor. Obviously,
I will always see him with the like boxer, got my head clocked, have a concussion accent.
Hey,
Oh, you wanna fight?
I'll beat
Where did it go, George?
Yeah. Yeah. Arnold I always saw as the action star. Sylvester Stallone I saw as the actor. But it is true that he did all those Rambo movies. I just never saw any of them. I've never seen them. Seen Predator.
Maybe we should watch. I don't know. Yeah, I think I would like Rambo now.
Yeah, I think I would too. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
there's an era where masculinity is all but dead. The Rambo series was on.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how toxic my masculinity can be. Yeah, that's badass. But I think there's a third influence that isn't being spoken about here. Definitely, when you look at the Alien, I'm getting major Alien vibes from that.
Dude, you play the game. Dude, if I didn't even see, I'm not a Contra guy, so when I played this game, I was like, huh, like that's a lot of Alien influence. I guess it was just influencing everything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. I'm not a country guy either, so I assumed it was just like a military shooter, and so I was like, oh, just shooting people all the time. And then like the last level, alien base, and I'm like, oh, what? And then that was kind of a cool twist because I didn't know, and then it looked very very alien. Yeah. Do you like the alien?
It was
movies?
alienated.
Yeah.
I watched like half of the first one, and then I think that the alien popped out of the stomach, and I just wasn't ready for it, so I took it off. But I've been meaning to watch the full one. I don't think after that I need to watch any of them, from what I understand.
Alien is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie. I think it's like science fiction wise, it captures something that they don't do in modern film, where they make the world come to life in ways like I just admire the matte paintings, the set design, which doesn't exist anymore now. It's everything CGI and it looks terrible. And like it's just so obvious. But when you look at Alien, it's just so gorgeous and it's grimy and gross and oh my god, I could gush about Alien. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, you're right. As they progress, especially, I mean, Aliens, you could make an argument it should be seen, although it's a completely different movie. I guess it's more like this, where it's a shooter. It's like a running gun movie, but it's still okay, and it's got some memorable moments in it. But then everything after it, my god, it's just embarrassing. Prometheus was
Right.
horrible.
Well, misses the point, right? I think I've even seen Prometheus. The plot is like being stranded on a spaceship with a big, massive alien that's like murdering everyone, right? And then when
Right.
you add like, okay, we have like infinite arsenal, that kind of takes the magic out of it.
Exactly. That 100%. And I think another thing about that series is that like part of what makes Alien scary is the mystery of it. Like you don't really know what it is, where it came from. It's just the whole point. I mean, that's the name of the movie, Alien. Like it's supposed to be foreign to you. So then the movies after, like especially Prometheus, but I haven't seen Alien 3. I just have no interest in it. In Prometheus, it's like we're going to tell you everything about this, where it came from, why it's here, what it wants to do, and it's like, okay, I'm not scared of it anymore. It's just some weird like science fiction lore that some nerd wanted. But it's terrible. It's just horrible. I don't understand why anybody wants that. But the original Alien, phenomenal movie. Big time.
And it's here in Contra.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to shoot it in Contra.
on the cover, apparently. Yeah.
All right. Well, you ready to get started with the map out?
Sure.
All right. Well, hold on though. I think I can get us to we get like a story thing first.
Let me see. I have the plot from the Wikipedia on the original.
Okay. Yeah, read that.
All right. Contra is set in the distant future of the year 2633 AD, when the evil Red Falcon organization have set a base on the fictional Galuga archipelago near New Zealand in a plot to wipe out humanity. Interesting.
There's Galuga.
Red Falcon organization want to wipe out the humans. I wonder what's going on. Is this a secret military operation? Are they human? Two commandos, Bill Reiser and Lance Bean of the Earth Marine Corps Contra Unit, An elite group of soldiers specializing in guerrilla warfare are sent to the island to destroy the enemy forces and uncover the true nature of the alien entity controlling them. Well, there you go.
This is interesting because I'm reading two different time periods going on here. Because in the translated from Japanese version of the manual, it says it's the year 2633 AD, like you said. And I guess that's the Wikipedia's thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then from the manual in the US version, it says in 1957, a large object from outer space crashed into Earth's Amazon basin near the ruins of a lost Mayan civilization. Yada, yada, yada. Now, 30 years later, rumors of an evil force have swept into the Pentagon's front office, and tales from frightened villagers of a hideous being with an army of alien henchmen are sending chills down the spines of top military brass. Unwilling to upset current political stability, an all-out assault on the region has been overruled, and instead, two of America's most cunning, courageous, and ruthless soldiers from the Special Forces Elite Commando Squad have been selected to seek out and destroy those alien intruders. So in the U.S. manual, it's saying it's present day. But in the Japanese one, it's saying it's like way, way in the future.
Right. Yeah, I align more with. I see it's so weird because, like, if you look at like set pieces in the game, nothing looks that futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
It looks kind of like 1987 NES game. But when you think about alien henchmen, how many can you name from this game?
Yeah, there weren't. I mean, most of them looked like humans, and maybe they're implying that those were aliens too. Like
I guess maybe some of the machinery, but
Quite
I see it
humanoid.
more as brainwashed humans.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, interesting. People in the comments that are Contra fans, can you explain this to us? Is there like
It's your game.
yeah?
Explain it.
I'm lost. Weird. That's strange that they would be so separate. All right, you ready?
Oh, I meant to ask, are you more of a Bill guy or a Lance guy?
Bill.
Who's who? Is Bill Arnold and
Bill-
Lance is Stallone?
Correct.
Okay.
I guess I'm Bill. I don't
Okay.
have a preference necessarily. What about you?
In this game, no, not really. Yeah, I guess I'm a Bill guy.
No Lance guys here.
Uh,
All right, so first stage here is the jungle. Welcome to the
Welcome
jungle.
to the jungle.
You have to, man. Especially with the time period and everything. That's perfect.
Yes. What a way to roll out the game. This is the like stage I remember if you ask me about Contra 1. I feel like I've seen this game like everywhere even before playing it.
Yeah, pretty iconic. Really cool. Like, obviously, so you're in like a jungle. But there's like it's like over the water. And one thing you'll learn very quickly is that if you fall into the water, you don't die, you just start swimming. Which is really neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's going to happen anyway because within like 5 steps, the bridge explodes and you're going to fall down the bridge.
Yeah, do you think they were thinking like 80s set piece with that? Where like the hero's running and the bridge explodes and he falls and it's like the enemies think that he's dead and he pulls up off the shore and he's like ready to fight.
Well, I guess they're doing the Rambo thing, right? Where he's like camouflaged, hiding in the water.
Yeah, that's awesome. See, I admire that
I think it's
stuff.
cool too because we neglected it, but I mean, it is a co-op game. One player could be running on the top part and the other could be running the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I admire them striving for something greater, like cinematically, with this. Even though obviously it's primitive, but I admire them going for it here, and that's neat. That gets a lot of bonus points for me. Is just that like they didn't have to do that. They could have just made like a bridge and you just run across it and that's it. And I would have been fine with it. It wouldn't have made any difference. But the fact that they did this exploding bridge thing and you fall and that's really neat. I major props to Konami.
And it's a good looking stage too. I mean, it's not like the most impressive thing. I mean, we're not talking like Donkey Kong Country Jungle Japes, ironically, another jungle, but where it's like more of like an ambient background. No, you just get a starry sky, and I mean, it's NES we're talking, and it looks good.
Yeah. Serviceable. I would have played this as a
It's
kid.
not Mario, because like Mario's just bright blue,
Yeah.
brick. Like, no, we're we got water elements. And how many games let you like run in water? Like water usually means death or it means like annoying gameplay. It's really not annoying in this game.
Mm-hmm. No, this is great. You'll definitely learn about the different mechanics of shooting diagonally, crouching, not crouch, I guess prone, not crouching. There's not a whole lot there, but you can see that certain enemies you go prone for, certain enemies you jump, certain enemies you just shoot. Simple.
Yeah,
but it's
this
the
is
first
pretty
level.
advanced even compared to the genre, right? Like you think Mega Man, it is literally just left right. You can't like you could jump and shoot, but you can't aim up, you can't aim down, you can't aim diagonal. Although it is a free run shooter, just like this one. This is a free run shooter. You can't just stop. You can just stop and shoot, but you can't stop and aim.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty interesting because you do need to do like multiple styles of aiming, and then even kind of the layers between like what part of the level you're on, whether it's like the top half, bottom half, or somewhere in between. So you can drop down from the ledges at any point. And you need to master that because there's like turrets in all different areas. Sometimes guys will pop out of the bushes. You can even crouch down and then shoot, like very military style. So it's pretty advanced for its time.
Oh yeah, very impressive. And it's interesting to think about because like now we're all jaded and stuff, but back then this was all new stuff. Like this is all them experimenting and trying stuff. So cool to see those ideas, like how many of ideas they packed into just this Contra, like the first one. Or maybe it's not even the first one. I'm sure there's millions of others that people will tell us, but it's early. Let's agree on that.
Yeah, for sure. You close off on this kind of like in front of the base, but like I guess boss section. It's called Jungle Fortress Entrance, and there's like a dude on the top layer. There's like 2 turrets underneath, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's like little mini cannonball fires, and then there's also the door which needs to be shot. You could just shoot the door and then it opens and you automatically progress. But what was your experience with this Jungle Fortress Entrance?
Okay, low key. I come from. I mean, I'm young. I'm an older guy than you, and I come from this era a little bit more. Shooting panels on like a machine or something is heaven to me. I love the idea of like shooting like a panel that like glows red when you hit it or whatever, and it like you blow it up and then you win. That stuff is like crack to me. I adore it, and I think it was phenomenal to see that here. And I was impressed too that it's kind of a smart boss design because it gives you options on how to tackle it. Like you can either choose to clear out the obstacles or you can go straight for the target. And there's pros and cons to both, and I admire that.
Yeah, this idea of destructible elements. Like you could make the boss fight easier for yourself by taking out some of those elements, or you could just go straight for it, I guess Rambo style, and destroy the whole base at once. And that's really satisfying too. So it just depends on your skill level. Are you able to do that while avoiding some of the firepower, which and that includes you have to be able to do these kind of like somersaults. The jumping in this game is really funny. Like it's not just like traditional jumping.
Yeah.
The guy just is flipping in midair while also firing his machine gun.
Hell yeah.
So I kind of enjoy that.
Yeah, it's definitely over the top. It's deceptive too, because you don't really jump as high as you think you are. There's a lot of ledges in this game where I would think if you're jumping to the fullest extent, you would have made it up there, but you don't. It's just not quite high enough. Um, but to their credit, it's not a platforming game. It's a, it's a shooting game. So I don't really hold it against it. But if this were a Mario game, I think the jumping would be a little bit more precise, or I would hope. But
Sure.
all right, stage 2.
Stage 2. Let's go. This one's called Base 1.
I adore these segments. I actually like these more than the side-scrolling segments. These are so much fun once you get the hang of it. I love this, and I'm curious what this plays like with co-op because it seems like it'd be kind of a mess. But one player, it's pretty perfect. I admire this. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I'm a little spoiled because I'll have a story time at the end. I was meant to do it earlier, but I played the arcade version a bit, and these segments have timers, active timers that run while you're running through it. So you have to do it within a certain time frame. So it really makes it like the mission feel a little more realized.
Okay.
And like high stakes. And those ones I think are better than the ones in the NES version. But I still think it's a really creative contrast, if you will, to the traditional side-scroller gameplay.
We should have done a Contra pun counter. I feel like
That'd be good.
I feel like it's too late now. We've done. I don't know how many more we're gonna get.
10.
Anyway.
12 anyways. Yeah. But it is very different from what you expect. And this one, I think the wall explodes and you just run straight through, but in the arcade version, you run down to the hallway and then you have to like run through whatever side of the wall explodes. So it has like this 3D element, which I think is what they're going for here.
Whoa, that's really neat. That's cool. Yeah, and once again, destructible things on a wall is just heaven to me. I love that. And then I love, again, just like the bosses, there's optional ways on tackling this. You can just shoot straight for what, if it's available. Sometimes it's not available right away. But you can shoot the target right away, or you can shoot the projectile shooters, the people, the guns, the turrets. There's just a lot of different ways to handle it. I just adore this. This is really fun. If the entire game was this, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, maybe not enough of this. I do think, though, maybe it's just the ability of the console at the time. Again, 37-year-old game. Some of the like 3D like dodging elements, I think, are missing out. Like you're missing out on that. Like, you know, the bullets are coming at you, and regardless if you jump or you duck, you can't dodge them that way. You would still get hit by them. So you do have to get down to fire at like certain targets, but it just doesn't work the way that I kind of hoped it would. And I think I had seen in the arcade version it functions a little more closely.
Okay.
To the physics.
That's a good call out. I do remember that there were some that like it shot high and some low, but it didn't seem to make a difference. You just have to dodge horizontally, which is annoying. It's a missed opportunity, I think.
A lot of cool elements, though. I'll give it credit for being an NES game. I mean, like the barrels, shooting the barrels before they come at you. The dudes that are like running around, they're doing the Contra jump, the little flip, you know. So yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Oh, and then the first boss, the boss of the Terminal 1. The boss is called Terminal 1. But instead of shooting sideways, you're shooting up. I thought there were some missed opportunities here with combining vertical shooting with horizontal shooting, at least in this boss specifically. They kind of had it in the next one, but I still don't think they really got it. But what is here is really fun. Again, I like the more vertical approach to this.
Yeah. You have two turrets left, right, and then the main computer brain just appears. And I don't know. It's a simple boss fight, but at the same time, like you also have like 4 like I don't even shields, I guess, that are blocking your fire. It is satisfying just blowing shit up. So like I think that's kind of the genius of this game. It's just so many things to shoot at.
Yeah.
Just very limited by its, whatever the scope was for this boss.
Yeah. Agreed.
I don't like, it basically feels like if you lose your power up, you're firing a pea shooter, and the ability to hit the turrets with the pea shooter is low because the trajectory is like directly with their firepower, which is going straight down and scattered. So if you're right underneath it, you're in the line of fire, but that's where you need to be basically in order to hit them.
Yeah, it's like a hit and run game at that point, where it's like you shoot and then you just have to jump away and just do it over and over again. Yeah. Well, and like we played obviously with the Konami code, so dying to us was less of a thing. But I guess if you're playing it straight, like the way it's intended, you shouldn't be dying as much. So you should be keeping your power ups. I guess if you were a more dedicated player, your power ups would last.
Also, I play with burst fire. Did you do that?
No, or maybe
the Anniversary Collection has burst fire or single shot. You can switch between the two.
Okay, well, I played the NES version.
Yeah, the NES, even on the Anniversary Collection, you can switch to burst fire.
I played the NES version, not on the Anniversary.
Never mind. Okay.
I played it on
your NES. Yeah, gotcha.
On my NES.
Okay. Yeah.
Just plugged it in, put on my jukebox.
Your CRT. Busted out the crusty old NES controller.
Yeah. That's the only way I play these games. Play them legit.
Enthusiasm.
Just a retro guy. All right, Waterfall. So it's a vertical stage, but it is still a side-scrolling stage. It's like
true. This one you will take a lot of advantage of the Bill and Lance somersault, which is kind of fun to see, just because this is a vertical stage, so you have to somersault the entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they get exhausted doing that.
I think the waterfall is kind of ugly compared to like other waterfalls in games, but and I do think visually maybe it looks very similar to the original game, but I think the arcade version looks better. But that aside, it's still kind of fun to just kind of like fire all over the place at like the dudes that are running around, at the turrets that are popping up. Some tricky platforming. I think there's like a couple platforms that kind of just like are left to right at a certain points, and your jump only goes so high. So some of the jumps that you need to make are not like you want to make the jump, but it's like just above your reach, and it's like, come on.
That's where those deceptive jumps really come into play, is this level specifically. Because like if I'm looking at some of these pictures, you can see where there's one ledge that's obviously you can jump to, and then one that's above it that you would think you could jump to, but you can't. And so the way the game is designed, it's like if I were on this platform, it looks like there would be a shortcut if you make like a really good jump, but it's not. There aren't really shortcuts in the level. It's just like you're just barely not jumping high enough to reach it, which that's how they designed it. So like it is what it is. But if it were a platformer, that would be a huge missed opportunity.
Cool stage though, cool mechanic. I do appreciate the variety in the gameplay because there's nothing else like this for the rest of the game.
And then, now that I think about it, I shouldn't have been so surprised by the final boss because this boss is a mechanical alien. It is true that's what it was.
What do you know?
I guess I just still thought of it as a military shooter at this point, and it's like, oh, they built an alien thing, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know why I would think that.
Right.
Whatever. You shoot the ends of the arms first, which is cool, and then you shoot its mouth, which kind of like what you were talking about before. you have to stand right under it, and then it just shoots stuff at you. So it's kind of tricky there.
Are you able to shoot the mouth before taking out the arms?
Maybe I didn't do that, but maybe.
I noticed that it only registers the hits when the mouth drops.
Right.
So it's possible. I couldn't. I tried, and then I lost my power up, and I was like, all right, well, I'll just take out the arms.
Yeah. I guess you probably could, but yeah, that would be hard. That'd be very difficult.
It's a good little boss fight though, because he like fires out from the mouth, and then the arms are swinging. I think they fire things too, and I think some guys run left and right. Maybe not.
I think they do. But yeah, cool fight. Very scary looking alien. But apparently it's just a mechanical one.
Yeah, just a little intimidation tactic.
Real ones incoming.
Most military organizations try to hide the aliens. Here in Contra, we tap into our alien kind.
Yeah.
Area 51 is more like the 51st area.
Yeah. Yeah, they got like flags and say they point to them and just say, "Come here, aliens."
What do you think alien craze was like back in the 80s? Like, do you think people were like, "Oh, aliens," like,
Well,
UFOs?
wasn't it like in the 50s that it really popped off? Was like, or maybe earlier than that, but the flying saucers kicked off around then or something.
When did you see E.T.? Is E.T. an 80s movie?
E.T.'s an 80s movie, yeah. I think.
Okay.
Or late 70s, but it's in that era. But I think flying the big alien, the original alien craze was, let me look that up. That's so interesting. When was big? Let's see if Google can respond to this. When was big?
When are aliens the most popular
Yeah.
throughout U.S. history? That's an AI question, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Chat GPT's response. 1947 was the flying disc craze, where people started saying that there's like flying saucers, like everyone agreed on flying saucers.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became a cool thing. I think by the 80s it was more like fun science fiction. I mean, obviously there's always people that think they're aliens. What do you think on that? Do you think there are aliens on Earth? Or if they visit?
On Earth?
Or do you think they come visit?
I think aliens visit Earth. No. Not actively, but I think there are aliens. The solar system's too massive for there not to be. I would imagine that life has developed in a similar way, like somewhere in the universe, due to the existence of many suns and elements. So I don't know if there are people like us out there, or like how similar or different, but I would think there are. What do you think?
Like you, I believe that obviously I believe that there's life out there. I don't believe they've come here. I do slightly disagree with one thing that you said though. I don't think things would have developed similarly to us. I mean, just looking at the flora and fauna of this planet, looking at people on this planet, how different they are. I mean, obviously bipeds and whatever, but like Asian people, black people, white people, we've clearly evolved differently. Like it's interesting just to see that, but like another planet and thinking of all the animals that are on this planet that evolved based on where they lived. I think it's, and then you got to think like planets are different sizes. Like our planet is our size just because of, the rock formations and what it was. But what about like planet like Jupiter? But like in a different solar system that could be that size. The creatures will not be this like our humanoid size. So like just the idea that something could be our size, like relatable to that, that would come to this planet, not instantly die from the vast chemicals that are on this planet that are different from theirs. The gravitational differences, they could easily get crushed if they came to our planet and gravity was not what they were used to. There's so many things about it that I just don't think like mathematically work that
Sure.
an alien has been here. But obviously
that's fair.
they're out there though. They gotta be like, and I'd love to see
And
it.
aliens don't necessarily need to be human-like. I mean, it could be like, because if you think of the first organisms on this planet, I mean, they were like things that came out of the ocean, you know, in like microbial forms. And I think of the question too of like, is a planet a living organism? You know, so like, and then what life originates from that life? So
It's a very Final
I don't know.
Fantasy way of thinking about it. The life
I'm
stream.
looking forward to more. Why don't we talk about this during Final Fantasy? Why is it during Run and Gun?
The philosophical thinker.
Yes, Contra has brought out the deep questions. Mechanical aliens, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, all the aliens should be mechanical, I think.
What if other life forms are just AI and we're the puppet masters?
Ooh, there you go. Well, did you ever?
What if we're the AI?
Because you're a reader. Did you ever read like 12th Planet or Chariots of the Gods? I think is what it was.
No, did you?
Yeah, I was big into that. Just not that I believe it or anything, but it's essentially, if you boil it down, it's the idea that in ancient Sumeria, aliens visited from another planet. It's called Nibiru, and they created humans through genetic engineering. So like there were apes, and then they used genetic engineering with their DNA to create humans. That's where like they integrate the Bible into it, where it's Eve was created through the rib of Adam, and they take that as like a, not necessarily literally, but like they use the genetics of the rib to create more humans.
I mean, when I was in college, I had friends that like went deep down the alien rabbit hole of like Anunnaki and Illuminati and changing the monkeys into people stuff, which at the time, I mean, I was like 20 years old. So I was like, whoa, that must be true. You know?
Yeah.
But now I wouldn't say I'm skeptical, but like you can't know. I'm agnostic.
It's fun to think about. But there's so many holes in it. And there's just like it's just fun to think about. I never really fully grasped it or was convinced of it, but from a science fiction perspective, it's so much fun to just think about.
Yeah, I think people do take it very seriously, whereas like with something like this, it's like more entertainment based aliens, which I kind of like nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, like my alien type of reading would be like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Hell yeah.
I think that's a concept that's as old as like Star Trek, if not earlier. So I appreciate that kind of alien, and I even appreciate like the Asimov kind of alien, where it's like foundations of like humanity and across civilizations and time periods, and I don't know, like empires and almost in a Star Wars kind of sense.
Yeah, I think science fiction is really at its best when it's challenging like current day norms with like with like posing as science fiction, like in the future, like I think they challenge like racism or something, but they do it in a way where it's in the future and there's a new thing, and you can kind of look at it without the problems of today's lens, but you can see it with an allegory of the future, which I think that's when science fiction is really at its best. And yeah, like Star Trek kind of stuff where they tackle that, but it's not in a way that you can like offend a person now, because they're just fictional characters, but you can tackle those questions, and I think that's really the purpose of science fiction. And
well, there's two kinds. There's like the poppy kind, like where it's just like, oh, what if like the aliens are taking over our bodies and harvesting us, Or
But I
you
think
have the theoretical stuff, which is based in like legitimate scientific concepts, and like, what if we take this concept and then we just like turn it into a big thing, like the iRobot? Like, what if we give robots big, huge brains? And then a lot of that ends up being kind of predictive in a sense. And I think it's really interesting to go back and read 1984. That's like how many years before? 50, 40?
Mhm.
Um, so
Dead
I
on.
appreciate science fiction for kind of speculating about the future, or whether it intends to or not.
Well, I think the body snatcher stuff too. I mean, that's made in a time when we're in the Cold War, and so spies are a big thing, and you don't really know if you can trust your neighbor.
Mm.
And I think that is really just which makes that so good, especially if you were around at the time. Like that fear was real. Whether it was about
Mhm.
aliens, but it could have been about Russians, or could have been about stuff. But they use that as an allegory to be like, well, but what if it's just somebody you don't know, alien, you know?
Mm.
And
And what makes them
yeah,
any less of people in at the end of the day? Like your
right,
androids.
yeah.
Who's to say?
Well, that's
Who's the arbiter?
yeah, absolutely. I think that's where science fiction is key, and that's what I think a lot of it misses when it tries to just be like alien versus aliens. Alien, it's like I don't know it. I'm scared of it. It's terrifying. Aliens is let's shoot it with guns as fast and burn it to the ground. It's kind of
Yeah.
misses the boat. But anyway, should we keep going? I could talk about this too.
Let's
But
talk about stage 4.
here's base 2. Same comments as
Last
base
one.
1, I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
Although the boss
Same
was a lot
greatness,
harder.
but tougher. Yeah. Now you got brainwashed dudes running around, or they're the aliens. Depends on which version you played.
Yeah, yeah. Don't quite know.
I played US, so I guess they're henchmen. Or no, they're alien henchmen.
Alien henchman. Not much
This
to
boss
say.
was okay. It was challenging, and like the little plasma weapons he fires at you can be homing, so you either got to dodge them or shoot them before they land. But it's hard to focus on that and hitting the right head at the same time. So I feel like I'm not accurate in these sections, and I can't like make up my mind which I want to do. I usually end up, if I miss, I just try and somersault over it, the fire. But and like the fact he like does this hologram technique, it's pretty cool. Like I don't hate it. I just think it makes it like kind of tricky to know where to focus your firepower.
Yeah, I think that's a missed opportunity here. That doesn't quite translate, I think, with what they were trying to do. Just my opinion, I guess.
Yeah, a better example of that would be like the Poe fight in Ocarina of Time, where the Poe
Yeah.
turns into 4 Poes, and then you have to look for the spin. So I mean, clearly hardware limitation, NES versus N64, but this has been done better since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait till one of my favorite YouTubers does his Ocarina of Time playthrough.
Oh yeah, who's that?
It's the captain. The Captain Keaton.
Really, a captain?
Yeah.
Captain Keaton? That guy sounds so cool.
Yeah. I can't wait till he does that game.
Ocarina of Time. Yeah. I hope he sails through that game swimmingly.
Whoa. Love that. But don't leave me cold.
Back to Terminal 2.
Oh, I moved on.
You want more boat puns?
No.
I hope you're not bored of stars, because we're going back to a starry stage.
It's the snowfield.
Starboard.
Starboard, I got it.
Starfield. Yeah. Oh, no, we're not playing Starfield. We're playing Snowfield. Did you play Starfield?
No, I downloaded it because it was on Game Pass immediately. And then I was like, I'm going to get to this. And I think I was playing something else at the time. I can't remember. And then I said, I'm going to get to this right after that. And then I wanted to play Dark Souls 3. And so I did that.
Yeah.
I literally still have it on my Xbox Series S, like downloaded and ready to go. Have not touched it.
Yeah. It's so hard. Like I would still like to try Cyberpunk. I have it and I just haven't touched it. And lately I bought the Middle Earth games. I want to play those. But I tried it once and it wasn't landing. But I think I should try it because people seem to like it. And I'm a Lord of the Rings guy. But these big games, man, like I'm playing Elden Ring, and it's like, how do I just put down Elden Ring to play Middle Earth
Yeah.
or Starfield or insert game?
No,
You know?
I wouldn't put down anything for Elden Ring. I would keep going with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish. Like I'm not gonna stop Elden Ring. That's going.
Do you have any interest
clear.
in Baldur's Gate?
I'm not sure. Can you sell me on it?
We're gonna talk about everything besides Contra in this video, by the way.
We've done a lot of Contra talk.
We have
I
done,
don't
yeah.
think people will be upset.
Yeah,
This
you're
is
right.
not a Kirby's Dream Land 2 situation.
It's kind of like the reverse. It's weird. It's like the opposite crap out of Kirby's Dream Land 2. Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm specifically saying 3, is very good. It's a lot of dialogue, but it's good dialogue. A lot of choices. So if you're into that, there's a lot going on there. A lot of story. And a lot of autonomy to do kind of what you want to do with it. The combat is very cerebral. It's turn-based tactics, and very D&D oriented. So if you know the math of D&D and like dice rolls and stuff, it follows that pretty closely. It's very, very fun to play and very challenging at times. But once you if you
Let me ask you about the tactics.
Sure.
What makes the turn-based tactics competent?
So it's not necessarily grid based. It's just you have a range in meters of how far you can run. And then you have an action, and then you have bonus actions. And there's a lot of interactivity with the environment. So let's say a lot of elemental stuff, I should really say. So let's say there's a barrel of water next to an enemy. You can shoot the barrel, and then water will fall out of it. Okay, great. So now the floor, well, I don't know if it really does anything at that, but anyway, so the floor now has water on it. Your next turn is with a mage that can shoot lightning. You can shoot the lightning at the water, and everybody that's standing on that water will be electrocuted. Or you can probably shoot the guy, and then the water itself will be electrocuted, and then like everybody will be, and that includes your teammates. So it's like it's a very dynamic way of looking at combat that's smarter.
We talked about this before on my channel with the Baldur's Gate 3, and we pissed some people off, but it's like the closest you can get to D&D without being D&D.
Yeah, well, if you wanted to get into the depths of it, it does stray from what I think D&D really is. Just by the nature
The
of being a game.
stereotypical D&D, which is like, oh, you can do this, you can do that, like.
Right.
It sounds like, you could do almost anything in like a battle, right? Like you could electrocute the water. It's more Breath of the Wild-esque, like in this combat sense. But Breath of the Wild is more of like exploration, I guess.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I suppose.
Like what I guess it makes you think about how can you overcome this obstacle in a creative way, if possible.
Certainly. There's a lot of creativity. And I mean, theoretically too, a lot of battles can be not had at all if you choose to talk your way out of it or choose to do certain things. You can just have no battles at all if you so choose, and you'll still gain
Do you think
experience.
that's becoming like a 21st century like staple, is like this idea of like open-ended solutions?
Yes. Yeah, I think gaming has evolved in such a way that it's like we want, and there's a contradiction. Another one. There's a contradiction in this, but it's I think there's what's called the illusion of choice in video games now, where you are able to make decisions, and the games that do really well, I think, honestly give you those choices, where you have the ability to decide how you want to solve the problem. Zelda, Breath of the Wild is a good example of that. This game is a good example of that. Whereas there's a lot of games that want you to think that you have choice, but you don't actually have choice. Like a lot of Ubisoft games, I think, fit into that. And I might be being too hard on them, I think, but I just from what I've played, it's there's a lot of illusion there. Um, but yeah, I do think that gaming nowadays is trying to give you alternate ways to solve problems other than shoot the alien until its health is gone.
What do you think about this phenomenon? Do you think it's like it's a good direction, or do you think it's something else?
I think it's good. It's a good direction to go in. I think it I think it makes development times pretty brutal, and the I think it adds to the problem of like how much does a game cost to create, and because it's like now you're not just shooting things, you're like, but we have to make it so you can solve it by other ways and this way and that way and that way, which debugging a game like that, I can only imagine is a massive headache, and games are only becoming more expensive to create. So these experiences are, while they're appreciated, I think they're forcing us to have other concessions on the side. So like, if they build this great engine, let's look at Zelda, for instance. They build this great engine for Breath of the Wild. Well, it's designed so that, wow, it worked really well. What do we do for the next Zelda? Literally copy paste it and then like add to it. And so it's kind of in one way, it's cool that they made it so great, but then it's a little disappointing that they're just to cut on development time, they're just going to replicate it. And I think Ubisoft is probably the primary guys that literally make the same game with the same engine since like the past 10 years.
I guess if you put like the failure to replicate the success aside, and more so like the direction as like the focal point, like it's just something I've never valued in playing a game. It's not to say it's a bad thing, but it's like I play Echoes of Wisdom, and it's like, well, if you cast bed and then you blow the tornado, it will blow the bed up, or you can hover on another enemy. I'm like, well, it's cool you can do that, but like I don't necessarily play games for like open-ended solutions. Like I think it's maybe losing its novelty.
Yeah, I agree in some aspects of that. I think sometimes they use open-ended gameplay to replace game design and level design. And I think that becomes a problem. And that's kind of where I sat with certainly some elements of Breath of the Wild, and then I really felt it with the sequel, whatever it's called. I can't remember the next one. But it's like let's use open-ended gameplay, and at the cost of these dungeons aren't really dungeons, they're just literally one puzzle that needs to be solved, and then you're done. And it's like, well, what made Ocarina of Time great is that the dungeons were like integrated into the world and told a story, and they meant something to the world, you know, like the forest temple was a temple where people did stuff and lived, and you can see like the rooms but then they designed the level to be around that. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, there's a dungeon, but it's just like, put this ball on that switch. It's like, who like used this, or how did this interact in the world? It just kind of loses something there.
Yeah, that's true. Because there is a beauty in the linearity of things too, like the progression system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that I think you can create some very meaningful puzzles in games And if your only meaning comes from, well, it's how you figured it out. Like, I think that, I don't know. Like, I don't want to call it lazy, but it's just something different that I don't know that I understand fully or want to.
Yeah. Well, I think I explained it once on this show too, but I think of it as the Tony Hawk problem, where when you play like Tony Hawk 2, because that one had this concept, but Tony Hawk 2, you go into these different locations and you skate on them. So like you're skating on park benches, you're skating on like you're going to, I don't remember all the levels necessarily, but let's say there's a school there, and you're skating on like areas in the school, and like they had a pool there, but they drained it, so now you're skating on the pool, and then you're skating on the ledges, and you're going on the roof. That's all really cool stuff. But then when you create your own park, you can put stuff to skate on and grind in, but it doesn't really have the soul of the world that made it so interesting. And so any created park is essentially meaningless. It doesn't really do anything for you, even though it has the same functionality as perhaps the levels do. It doesn't really have the heart and soul of what makes it interesting. And I think I get what you're saying, where these worlds like they're open ended, but there's some of them are so open ended that they just don't have anything in them. And it's like, yeah, you would solve this by building five beds, and you just jump across it. It's like, okay, it's cool that I can solve it that way, but is that really what I want out of an adventure? Like, is that how I want my 80s movie to end? Is Arnold Schwarzenegger just places beds and then climbs over them? Like, it's not really that exciting. So I see what you mean by that.
Yeah, I think you could design like I think of it like a Jackie Chan movie almost. Since we're talking about movies, it's like he does all types of crazy things. He'll like look around rapidly and then figure out the thing. Like, oh, if I kick the wood panel into the door, like it'll make it collapse into the other guy. It's like a game of Mousetrap or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun seeing what their concept for that was, rather than me having to figure it out in the middle of my game and feeling stuck when I don't.
Yeah, I think there's like a healthy balance. Because I like open-ended design, but not at the cost of design, if that makes sense. And I think
Sure.
it's hard to nail down what would do it right and what doesn't. It may even vary
When
from person to
every
person.
action adventure game kind of leans into this concept, or it feels like they do, it just makes it feel like the genre is becoming kind of played out. And I think that's my problem. Baldur's Gate, I understand. I understand why it would do that. That's a harken back to like classic,
Yeah, D&D open,
like the RPG genre, right?
Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense.
But I don't.
What makes Baldur's Gate a little more focused is that it is still a tactics RPG at the end of the day. So like the choices are you talk your way out of it or fight to the death. And the creativity in the battles is there, but the goal is not anything other than kill the guy once you're in a combat situation. Like that's still the goal.
Yeah.
I think it's done well. I have problems with it from a theory crafting perspective that we talked about, I think, on your channel. But for the sake of time, other than that, it's a solid game.
Mm-hmm. I guess I just don't want like a 2D Zelda like in this style. I think like, what's the point? Like, I don't know.
Wait, 2D
2D Zelda in this style.
So you're talking
like,
about Echoes specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that one too.
Discussion for a later day.
Yeah.
Or another channel.
Another channel. Probably my favorite channel. It'll be on there.
Aw.
Someday, I'm sure.
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to get turned on to this Captain Keaton.
Give him a shot. Snowfield.
Hey, this should be your favorite level.
I love snow.
A field of snow.
Thank God there wasn't like ice mechanics here, like slipping and shit.
True. Whew. Yeah, this is stupid. It's like they're throwing grenades out of the trees, but like I don't know. feel like I'm being harsh too. There are elements I like to this. I like like the variety in enemy types, but this is where I begin to feel like maybe they're trolling me a little bit. Like I'm progressing left to right, and then like I'll just like drop down into the next layer, and there's a turret already there firing at me.
And the pop in. This is a
Pop in.
limitation of the NES, I assume, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, but these enemies with the cannons, they'll pop in once you move to the right far enough. They're not like natively off the side. So if you like you're going like this, they'll literally just show up right here and start shooting you immediately. And
Yeah.
and that's bullshit.
If your reaction time's good enough, you can dodge them, but better be on your A game.
But that's
only like 20 minutes though. This game,
right. That's kind of the thing about this though, is that it's still from that era that I don't like, where there's an element of like remember that, and I just, if it happens once, oh okay, cool, I'm shocked. If it happens like 5 times in a level, it's like, oh, I should just have to remember every time it happens. And that's kind of the Mega Man thing, where I just like I get annoyed when it's like I'm good at the game because I've memorized when to jump and when to shoot, as opposed to like I know how to play my character well.
right?
So that's stuff here.
I also think too, you see, it's not as bad as Mega Man, but you do see that in elements with enemies, and then also like these power ups, because the power up will drop on a top layer, but then you can't get back to it because you've already fallen down a lower layer, and just know your jump's too low for it.
Sucks.
I'm saying like, come on, I really don't want to fire the pea shooter at these guys, but
for sure,
it's what it is. I do like some of the enemies here. I like the bulldozer thing that comes up.
I'm realizing now I probably should have just been shooting the entire time. I was assuming you couldn't shoot the spike thing, so I was being like very strategic with my shooting on the upper part, and it would always just run me over.
Yeah,
but yeah, I probably didn't need to be at all.
Rapid fire on him, and there's a window where he only angles 3 ways: really low, low, and straight. If you stand right in the right place, he likes the bulldozer stops midway through, and you'll be just out of range, and you can rapid fire him before he even gets close to you.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I just didn't handle it right.
And then you fight the anti-gravity shuttle.
Deceptive. Those little UFOs that pop out of it, you can actually hit them pretty easily, even not prone. You can just shoot to the side. I didn't realize that for the longest time when I was fighting this guy. But it's actually not that complicated. It looks more complicated than it is.
Yeah, he'll spawn in different areas, and then like the shuttles are coming out from left and right, and then he's firing straight down, which is your window. So it is a little tricky. I think I would have preferred a traditional base fight though, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's when these games are at their best, is when they're letting you blow shit up.
Yeah. This one feels too precise. Like you have to hit it a certain way, and time your jumps too. I was trying to time my somersaults, so like every time that the shuttles would come, like I would be like jumping over them, and firing at the same time, but I couldn't do it. Next stage is Energy Zone. Okay, remember we were talking about like, so the plot is a little confusing because some say distant future and some say modern day at the time. Mm-hmm.
This is probably the one stage where I'd be like, oh, this is the future. Like this is where it's definitely futuristic.
Well, there's a weird transition even between stage 4 and 5. You just enter, or I think it's 3 and 5. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not thinking about this right. But you did enter the alien base. I guess you entered the base and then you fought that. But then you ended up in Snowfield, and then the Snowfield takes you to Energy Zone. I don't know.
there's got to be some story pattern they were following here.
Antarctica, like I guess the hidden operations are happening out there. Maybe.
I don't know.
Welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle.
We've got energy zones. I don't know, and ice snowfields.
Okay,
Whatever.
In this stage,
yeah, go ahead.
Fuck those flamethrowers.
Seriously.
The jumping is okay. It's a little imprecise, but when you combine it with going prone, then to jumping, I keep getting hit by this shit, and it drives me crazy.
It is pain in the ass. The timing is off, and it is one of those things of remember, remember the flamethrower, and is exactly where it is when it drops. But you also, yeah, I do like some of like the timed jumps, like when they like layer the flamethrowers and like they time them, so you have to jump like up, down. But yeah, in practice, it's just really tricky. They do troll you a bit. There's like a weapon upgrade that there's like a base flamethrower, so if you go for it, you're gonna get killed. But you want that upgrade, so
I didn't do a lot of save scumming in this game. It just wasn't really necessary. I did it there because I was like, I'm gonna save here because this looks tricky. I think I died like 5 times trying to get it, and I said, nah, we're just gonna load. But yeah, with the Konami code, you don't really have to save scum. But that part specifically was like, wow, this level, if I recall, if I'm looking to look at the, oh, never mind, the boss wasn't bad. But yeah, this flamethrower stuff, it always kind of irritates me when a game like says we're this, but then we're for like a moment we're going to be something entirely different. And this level was very much like a platformer level. There weren't a lot of enemies in it. And it's like, I think these kinds of games are best when they really focus on the gunning. And then when they like veer away, they try to get creative. You know, props for trying to do something different, but it just wasn't really designed that way. And I think this shows some of the flaws of that.
right. And we got to give grace, like 87 run and gun. Doesn't this like define the genre? It's just like, I don't know. And it's also stage 6. So they had 5 stages that were pretty solid up to that point. And this maybe is one of the first like big stinkers. Snowfield maybe as well. Even stage 3. You know what? Fuck it. Just the whole... No,
this whole piece of shit.
But this one sucks especially. And look, I'm sure if you're good, you could just run through it deathless. But again, it's run, gun, stop, wait, jump. Like it's not run and gun solely.
Yeah. The boss was Armored Giant. I did not understand this boss.
Yeah, he does like a kick split in the middle of the air. He does a big jump. He's like huge by comparison to you. I guess he's Armored Giant. I saw him as like a Beyblade thrower. He's like, let it rip. Like, just throws these little shurikens at you.
Yeah.
I thought those were pretty cool. And you can somersault over him as he's approaching you. I didn't figure that out first playthrough, but I did the second one.
That was my problem. Okay, so I guess you can somersault over him. That's so deceptive. Like, it doesn't... What you can jump over in this game, what you can't. I guess it should be implied because he walks towards you and there's nothing else to do. But I just kept getting fucked up.
Right. I do like some of the visual cues. Like the more you fire at him, he turns red, redder, and then poof, he's dead. I did prefer this to the previous boss fight, but, again, it's nothing special.
Stage 7, the
7?
hangar. Oh.
This is the worst. This one sucks.
This sucks. Those spike walls just jump out randomly.
That's trolling me. That's where it's like, you guys suck. Why did you do this?
Well, that's that memorization shit. That's like... People that play this game a lot, I'm sure, and do speedruns are like, it's obvious. Well, yeah, because you played it 50,000 times. You have it like muscle memory at this point. To me, just trying to get through it, like, hey, you're doing great. No, it's like, fuck you. That's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It's just dumb.
Yeah. They will pop up like just before you're about to walk into them. And it's like if the point is to run and gun, it's not run, stop, fire, finesse between multiple dropping cranes. Did not like the cranes. It's not the most difficult thing, but it's like a little annoying. There's parts with like minecart. The minecarts are destructible. The minecarts can hit you. So I basically just avoided the bottom layer wherever possible.
The minecarts,
they were pretty trolly in this level.
The minecarts were completely missed opportunity because you brought up Donkey Kong earlier. That's what I think of minecarts, and I think of the cool things that they were able to do with that. And in this, they were just a means of getting from left to right. That was it, and it's like, well, that's. I guess early game design, they didn't really think of that stuff, but there could have been some really cool moments with this, and instead it's almost like you said, almost like me just trying to avoid them at all costs. It's just not worth the effort. Yeah. And they led you to destruction. Because like if you're on the minecart and you were going on the bottom layer and those claws were just shooting down at you, you would think that it would be driving you in a way that you weren't going to get hit by them. Or that you could
really duck in the minecart or something. Since you could already duck in like go flat, right?
Right. But it didn't. It was just like you're on the minecart and now you're dead. It's like, why would I even go on the minecart? Which begs the question, why did you put this in here? Like, this is not a good mechanic.
And what is it's a hangar? It's an airport hangar or something? I'm so confused. Like, how did we get here? We went from a energy zone to
it's like a spaceship.
Like, is it a spaceship hangar? Like, I don't. And then it does the theming match. You random cranes, like it's red. I don't know.
I think the story here is you're boarding a spaceship, an alien spaceship, and you're fighting your way to get onto the spaceship.
I see, and that's why I'm looking at the background wrong. Okay, so it's like a part of the ship or something. So you went through the energy zone from the snowfield in the Arctic. Now you're like going into the base of it or something.
Don't really know what an energy zone is, but
I think of like a power plant.
Yeah, I guess you have to go through that to get to the hangar for some reason. I don't know.
This one's the worst. This is the worst stage in the game.
This boss fight can go to hell. This is absurd.
If you want to take out everything, yes, but you can just fire at the energy tank above the door.
Holy shit. I lost so many lives doing
I didn't do that my first time, and then yeah, that sucked. But like, look at the image. The guy is literally just sitting there firing diagonally at the thing.
Yeah. Huh.
But I agree. If you're trying to attack everything, you have the two turrets on the bottom, which are like impossible to aim at, and then I think you have infantry that come and attack you.
If the worst way to shoot in your game, if there is a really uncomfortable way to shoot in your game, do not design bosses around that mechanic. That's just a little heads up, and I'm sure they've learned it. So I'd be curious.
They did, yeah. Because later I dabbled in the Genesis version. They have kind of like Gunstar Heroes fixed versus free.
There you go.
Could and you can alternate it on the spot, so you could do a fixed shot.
Oh, that would be beautiful. Unfortunately, that's not this game.
No.
You're literally just like running, pointing down, and like hoping to God you hit it once, and then running back the other way and hoping to God they don't destroy you in the process, which they will. It was, ugh, this is the worst.
Aim for the thing above the door. That's what I'll say.
But it transitions into what I think is the best level of the game.
Thematically, for sure. Oh my gosh.
What
Alien's Lair. This is what you're playing for, but you don't know it.
Right.
You don't know it when you're playing Contra.
This is freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm. And it's simple, but it's good. I mean, it starts you off. I think there's like a couple blimps that are flying, and they can give you the power ups. And then I think you see like one of the mini aliens flying across the screen before you even see the big alien head that's generating them.
Yeah.
And that's really cool because this tests your ability to shoot and dodge and even attack incoming like smaller enemies. It's really not a hard section, but it's just so cool. And he's kind of bulky, so it's a meaty fight. And it's layered too. You know, you start with like the big alien, and then you make your way towards the end to find what will eventually be your big like mother brain segment. How realized that is a different story, but thematically, awesome.
Yeah. Really cool. I love the things that are shooting like little lightning bolts at you or laser, whatever those are. It was fun to take those out. There's a way you can do it where it's fast if you're good. But not too hard. Nothing like the level prior where it's just like you're annoyed. I was more just curious going through this part of it. And then that final fight against what I assume is its heart, or
Yeah, maybe I didn't really think anything of it. I just like this. Yeah, I guess it would be the heart of what I don't know. Like I don't even understand how we got here, but
yeah,
it's Red Falcon. That is so it's the organization's heart or something.
the heart will explode. Okay, it is saying in here that it's a heart. Fantastic. Kind of curious what happens to you. Like I think you fly out on a UFO or something.
I took a picture. I can reach the ending screen.
Right.
Congratulations, you've destroyed the vile Red Falcon and saved the universe. Consider yourself a hero.
I did.
You did it.
Excellent. What a great way
game.
to top to yeah. I was impressed throughout. There were some missteps, but in general, very cool game.
Yeah, I slept on this one. I didn't think I did. I was like, oh, let's just play some shitty running gun games since Alex is out, and it ended up being pretty good.
Yeah. Contra. Maybe one day we could play some of the sequels, like if they have online multiplayer on them or something.
And if they have Konami codes, because without them, oof.
Oof is right.
Oof, 3 lives and then restart with your credit? No. I had a hell of a time trying to get the Konami code in.
It was tricky.
So I have the Contra Anniversary Collection, and I knew how hard it was because the first option on the menu is the arcade version. And I assumed that it would just work if you tried it on there. And every online outlet says, oh, yeah, the Konami code works on Contra on the Anniversary Collection. But I'm using an Xbox controller. And so it's the code is up, down, left, right, A, B, start. Although some people say it's A, B, start. So I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure out which buttons align to A, B. It ended up being X and Y. Which order it is, I can't even remember. I think it's Y, X.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to sitting there failing every time, and I'm like, what the hell? And I'm watching people's videos online, and it turns out you got to do it through the NES version. It doesn't work on the arcade version.
Oh.
So I spent like 20 minutes trying to figure out how to get the Konami code into Contra on the Contra Anniversary Collection. I was picking the wrong version. I was using the wrong buttons. There is no indicator before you start the game to like signal, bling, you got it. Nope. You just gotta start the game.
But in the arcade version, isn't there theoretically unlimited lives?
No. So you get 3 credits with 3 lives, and it lets you pick up where you died rather than the start of the stage. But it doesn't. It game overs you.
Oh,
so
shit.
I played it with those stock lives, and I got to stage 5, and I noticed some differences. Like you fight like some alien boss at stage 5, but the layouts are entirely the same, just about.
Mm.
But I couldn't make it further than that. Well,
that's Contra.
Yeah. What Contras would you be interested in trying after this?
I don't know. Any of them.
There's some bad ones too. I think the one that people hate is like the 3D one or something. Rogue? No, not Rogue Corpse. Hard Corpse? No, that's not it. What even is that? I didn't even know there was a Contra game.
Let's see what we got here. I got a list of them. So we got
Okay.
Contra Super C. I guess that's Super Contra.
The Alien Strikes Back.
Operation C. Contra 3, The Alien Wars. Contra Force. Contra Hardcore. Contra Legacy of War. The Contra Adventure. Contra Advance, The Alien Wars EX. Contra Shattered Soldier. Neo Contra. Contra 4. Contra Rebirth. Contra The War of the Worlds, which looks like it only came out in Japan. I'm just guessing that because the logo is all Japanese. Contra Evolution. Hardcore Uprising. Contra 3D. Contra Returns. Contra Rogue Core. Contra Tournament. Tournament? What the hell? Contra Operation Galuga, which is obviously that newest one.
And Contraceptive.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah,
I think that it's probably safe to stick with those early ones. So probably like Super C and Contra 3 and Hard Corpse.
Super Contra would probably have been right up my alley. I would guess. Wait. Was this... What did this release on? Oh, never mind. No.
That's arcade and NES.
Let me see. Contra 3? Contra 3 would have been mine because I was a Super Nintendo kid. So me and my brother probably would have played the shit out of that. No, I'd play any of them. I'm assuming they have like a collection or something where you could play online with people.
The online ones don't have online capability ones. The compilation ones anyway, not the online ones.
This world's stupid.
This opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm excited.
But maybe if they have it on Switch online, I think you could do that.
I think this theoretically opens some of these up for future map outs. Maybe. See if Alex is down.
Maybe, yeah. Do you prefer this to Mega Man?
Yes.
Okay, why?
I think Mega Man has more of the, at least the one that we played. Maybe it's maybe it changes. I know X is quite different, so I know it changes to some extent. But I think it has that those have more of like the memorization stuff that I don't really like. Whereas these are more straightforward run and gun games, minus a couple levels. So I prefer that. And I prefer that science fiction world too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Which I think is, it's not talked about enough, but I understand why. Like, I think it kind of spoils the whole beauty of the series, maybe. Which is just like this alien militaristic operation / adventure. Because I always saw it as just like a Rambo style game.
Same.
But the sci-fi element is like a really cool element. And I appreciate that. Which ironically Mega Man 2 would then go on and do. But I mean, it's like within this cartoony world. So it's kind of just cute in that. Whereas this is like more sci-fi-esque.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the first game like fully realizes some of that. So I would be excited to see what future ones do. And I do think it is very true to the concept of run and gun, whereas Mega Man almost feels like a puzzle run and gun.
Yes. Yeah, there's like all these, which I admire. There's things about Mega Man I like, certainly. But I think I prefer Contra after having played this. little faster too.
Yeah, this one. Woo.
Yeah, you can kind of
20 minutes, 25
You
minutes.
can get through it, which I like. Whereas Mega Man, I know people do speedruns and everything, but as just a guy that casually would play it, Mega Man feels like more of a commitment, like more of a slog, which I'm not really, if I'm playing a run and gun game, I'm not really looking for that. I can do that with RPGs aplenty. I don't need that out of a run and gun game.
Cool. Well, that we can call a map out.
Right. Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you with the third button here next time, too.
Yep. Peace out.
Stay tuned for more run and gun adventures. Just real quick, I think this month it's going to be another Game Talk Live.
Mm-hmm.
Like Saturday, I think. Although
See if
TBD.
Alex is up to it.
And the map out will be Metal Slug.
Hopefully, I'm surprised on that one too. Although I don't think I will be because I think I played Metal Slug before. But it's a pretty game, so that's cool.
Yeah. Stay tuned on the Button Mappers.